So the other day I ordered a venti mocha frappuccino from my local Starbucks, sat down to enjoy it, and was struck by the ambience. This store was classy, it was sophisticated, and it was missing $240 worth of framed motivational posters. As it turns out, this isn't some unique phenomenon specific to my local Starbucks. Rather, it's part of a growing trend sweeping the country. One might even call it the Taco Bell art heist. The basic facts are as follows. Sometime around October 2022, a string of bizarre thefts began occurring at Taco Bell locations in Texas. Paintings, prints, gicklies, basically any kind of decoration that adorned a Taco Bell restaurant wall went missing. The first incident happened in Odessa, where a manager came to work one morning and found a 6-foot by 4-foot print depicting a Taco Bell logo in the shape of a chili pepper had been stolen right off the wall. Over the next few months, similar incidents would be reported in other parts of Texas and eventually throughout the whole country. And while individual Taco Bell managers were left confused and slightly traumatized, a different kind of criminal mastermind was left very happy, because thanks to the internet, they had stumbled upon a previously untapped market, selling stolen Taco Bell wall art on eBay. One seller based in Houston, dubbed the Taco Bandit, offered up a large portion of their inventory on eBay, where they've since sold nearly everything from a gash-filled print of the Taco Bell menu to a glittery rendition of the company's slogan, Live Moz, and all for hefty prices. A simple 12 by 18-inch poster of the Taco Bell menu could go for over $700. An 18 by 24-inch print of Taco Bell's trademark bell peppers could fetch over $2,500. And in November 2022, an unnamed buyer actually dropped $30,000 on a 4-foot by 6-foot print of a Taco Bell Chihuahua wearing sunglasses. Now, obviously, it seems crazy that anyone would drop so much money on a stolen poster, especially one advertising fast food. But that's the thing. It's not just any poster. It's a time capsule representing a certain mood, a certain era, a certain something that makes our hearts sing. Well, I guess maybe not literally sing, but perhaps tap its foot in appreciation. Basically, it's a piece of Americana, and here's why. Back in 2009, Taco Bell's marketing team partnered up with ad agency BBH New York to launch a campaign called Fourth Meal, a play on the fact that Americans often eat fast food late at night after a night out drinking. In a series of 4 television commercials, a person finishing up a bender would stumble into a Taco Bell restaurant and order a meal with ingredients that represented something they needed. For example, onions for tears, sour cream for a soothing body lotion, or beans for a midnight bean counter. On the surface, the ads were funny and weird and memorable, basically everything you want an ad to be. But for the people that made them, it was also personal. Chris Cope, one of the creative minds behind the project, explained in an interview that he'd spent most of his 20s going out and partying in Miami, so he knew firsthand the type of ridiculous things people would do when drunk. So when he and his team set out to make an ad campaign about drunk people doing dumb things, he knew exactly what to draw from. For some reason, this level of creative insight hasn't really translated into financial success for Chris though. At least according to his LinkedIn page. He's still trying to figure out how to get people to care about his work. I think you're doing great, Chris. Anyway, while the Fourth Meal campaign was considered a success by both Taco Bell and BBH, it was only a matter of time before the ads were immortalized in Taco Bell restaurants all over the country. This is important because the Fourth Meal campaign isn't just some random piece of Taco Bell's history. It encapsulates the entire millennial experience. It's Taco Bell reflecting on itself, looking at its role in society and asking, how can we make people feel something? How can we make them laugh? How can we remind them of the good times they spent in college, the times they were young and wild and free? Then it does something insane like serve breakfast, and that's kind of the point. What's more uniquely American than a corporation figuring itself out by making fun of itself? If you ever spend any time on social media, you'll notice that a lot of millennials joke about how they miss the good old days, back when there were Blockbuster stores and floppy disks, and a time before TikTok, where they didn't have to compete with millions of creators for the attention span of teenagers. But one thing millennials always seem to miss more than anything else is the mid-2000s Taco Bell under the Fourth Meal era, a time when Taco Bell was self-aware and funny and alive. too many millennials, stepping foot inside a Taco Bell restaurant feels like stepping into a time machine. But to their surprise, it doesn't take them back to the 90s or the 80s or whatever they expected. Instead, they find themselves transported to a time that's much closer to the present, to the time during which they were actually living life. Maybe it's a combination of nostalgia and irony, but for a brief moment, a Taco Bell restaurant feels like the only place in the world where they truly belong. They feel seen, they feel understood, they feel validated. So it should come as no surprise that the art accompanying the fourth meal campaign has become so valuable on the black market. It's become synonymous with a feeling that's difficult to explain. But if you lived through it, you know what I'm talking about. To everyone else, it probably looks like garbage. But here's the thing. This isn't the only piece of Taco Bell art that's being stolen. People are taking down anything they can get their hands on, whether it's a corporate-themed painting, a meaningless but attractive graphic design, or a photorealistic print of a Baja Blast slushie. It doesn't matter what it is, just so long as it's something that used to hang on a Taco Bell wall. And that includes stuff that wasn't even involved in the fourth meal campaign. You might be thinking to yourself, what does this mean? Why is this happening? And to be honest, I don't have a clear answer, but there's one theory that I love. I am, of course, talking about the idea that Taco Bell restaurant employees are stealing their own work. There's no concrete evidence to support this claim, but if I had to guess, I'd wager that a few disgruntled employees got wind of the black market for Taco Bell art, realized that they had a bunch of free stuff to sell, and decided to cash in. I mean, if I were working at a Taco Bell and woke up one morning to find that someone had stolen a cool print off the wall, I wouldn't immediately report it. In fact, I'd probably look on eBay to see how much it was selling for and consider my options. Now, I'm not saying that this is morally okay, but I am saying that I understand it. If you're working a dead-end job at minimum wage, finding a way to make an extra 30 grand by stealing a couple prints off the wall seems like a no-brainer. And it's not like the paintings are going to make the company more or less money. And if the paintings were actually art, well then it would be a crime against humanity. Of course, I haven't heard any Taco Bell employees come forward and confess to stealing the paintings. But again, I think we're dealing with a special case here. These aren't your typical corporate art prints hanging in a soulless office building. They're pieces of Taco Bell history. They're remnants of an era when the company was funny and irreverent and daring. And for a lot of people, they're a reminder of a time when they too were funny and irreverent and daring. When I was in college, I worked at a deli where we made submarine sandwiches. We didn't have any cool paintings on our walls, just a corporate-mandated poster of a guy in a chef's hat holding a submarine sandwich. But every morning I'd come to work, I'd make eye contact with that poster and I'd smile. Not because it was a great piece of art, but because I knew that whenever I felt down, I could steal it and sell it on eBay. So in a way, I get it. I understand the appeal of stealing Taco Bell art. You just have to hope that the people buying it are the type that will appreciate it for what it is. Because, unlike traditional art, which is usually meant to evoke a certain emotion or convey a message, Taco Bell art is meant to do only two things. It's supposed to fill up empty wall space and make you crave whatever the hell is advertised on it. However, for those who buy it, it can evoke a different kind of emotion, one that has nothing to do with hunger. It can bring back memories of college, of simpler times, of when they too were young and Taco Bell was funny and the future was exciting and full of possibilities. In other words, it's not just a piece of fast food decor. It's a relic of a bygone era, a tangible reminder of a time that will never come back. And for some people, that's priceless.